Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blissful Life podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Gregory, and today we are here with the beautiful Key. She is a musician, a wellness advocate, and we're going to have a great conversation about how she got into her role as a musician, her story about self care, and why she's become a wellness advocate. Welcome, Key. Thank you so much for being on our podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're very welcome. So I love to have great conversations about wellness because as Black women, we typically have a lot going on, a lot of stress, anxiety, and we are moving more into taking care of ourselves, becoming more mindful of our self care. And so I would love to learn more from you about how that's true for you in your life. But before we do that, I want to know who you are. Who are you? Where do you live? Not necessarily, just city, state, as well as why you have decided to be a guest
Mhm.
on my podcast today. Just share your story, and so we can get to know you.
Well, awesome. Everyone calls me Key, but my stage name is the Beautiful Key. I'm from Houston, Texas. I was born in Conroe because that's where my doctors were located, but raised in Houston, Texas. Um, Definitely was drawn to being a part of this platform because of the topic at hand, Black women in wellness. Me being a Black woman in the wellness field, I thought that was perfect, and it's not too many artists that are very vocal about that or that are actually active in that field,
Mhm.
so to speak. So, just a little background about me. I I have lived many lives. I'm an artist as well as an entrepreneur. I own two businesses. One is Key Specialty Tea. It's a Reiki-powered tea brand, which was inspired by my grandmother when she was diagnosed with cancer, and it was designed to combat chemotherapy side effects.
Mm.
So it definitely helped her, and over the years, decreasing her medication and things of that sort. And then my other business is Flame. That's finding love around me everywhere. That's my wedding and marriage services that I offer virtual weddings
Mm.
as well as in person weddings, as well as I've been a wedding officiant for like 4 years now.
Okay.
So yes, and as far as my educational background, I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Sam Houston State. I have a master's in human human services, criminal justice.
Mhm.
Sorry, and I'm currently getting my second master's degree as a licensed counselor in clinical mental health, which brings me to the wellness and being a Black woman involved in that, as well as being an artist. Uh,
Mhm.
and I've been writing music since I was 12 years old. So just really using that as a way to express myself, uh,
Mhm.
mainly because we all need an outlet. Not a
Yeah.
lot of people have hobbies, which a lot of people, of age or just older, a lot of people don't have hobbies. And, just really maintaining your passions and
Mhm.
indulging in your passions is really healthy to keep some sort of motivation for you whenever you're going through life. So it's really an honor to be here.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that. There's so many points, of course, I want to share, questions I want to ask you. But one of the things I wanted to say is one of my dreams, I haven't been there yet, is to go to Fort Sam Houston in Texas. 'Cause I just want to go and see San Antonio and I've heard so many great things about it. Yes.
Mm.
But thank you for sharing how you had your journey so far. You said you lived many lives. Trust me, I understand. I feel like I've lived so many lives, but in each life, you learn
Mhm.
lessons and
Yes.
you grow and evolve. And so, one thing I would love to know more about is
Mhm.
your Reiki powered tea. Tell me more about that and how that,
Yes.
not just helps your grandmother, but how it helps other people in their wellness journey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for asking. Yes, of course, my grandmother was my inspiration upon that. And I started with three flavors. just to combat the main things. And I started creating them. And what Reiki is, a lot of people don't know, is power through energy.
Mhm.
So if you ever heard of happy water or positive water and things of that sort, that's Reiki powered water. And all it is energy and intentions and prayer placed into anything, any item, any person, and those intentions are set into there. So I really learned a lot about Reiki, and I was privileged enough to become a Reiki master. And upon
Mm.
creating that, and I also have the only sea moss iced tea on Walmart.com. Um,
Okay.
yes, I I have many. I have my tea in many stores in North Dallas, as I lived in North Dallas for over 4 years, and
Mhm.
before I just recently moved back to Houston last year. So now getting into more retail stores that I can have more control over.
Mhm.
As I had to turn down an opportunity with Sam's Club to have it in stores,
Okay.
which I try to teach people, and I have classes and videos of that sort to teach people how to get their products placed in certain stores and things of that sort. But one of the main things I came to issue with Sam's Club was they have shelf life requirements.
Mhm.
They wanted me to produce their green tea for their store.
Mm.
The shelf life requirements require you to put certain phosphates and things of that sort in there, which defeats the whole purpose of my tea. So I
Right.
really had to come to a business decision for myself, although that's a great opportunity for my business to be exclusive. I'm the green tea lady for, Sam's Club, if you will.
Mhm.
I really had to stand my ground with that because it really defeats the purpose of what I'm trying to promote, which is health and natural.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really admire
Mm,
that's great. Forgive me. Uh,
that's
Thank
okay.
God for editing. It's just look, that is amazing because it
Thank you
takes a lot
so
of
much.
integrity. It takes a lot of integrity to stand by your product and not fold when it comes to corporate demands. And yes, we everybody wants longer shelf life, et cetera. But like you mentioned, it does defeat the purpose of having a 100% naturally healthy tea without all the chemicals, all the um, elements that cause more harm than good. So,
Yeah, and
congrats.
that's the question that is always asked to me, as far as why is it only online, and that's what I have to kind of tell people, just to let them know, because I have the freedom and the
Mhm.
independence with online with certain huge retailers of
Sure.
sort. So yeah, that will be why. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I love that you're a Reiki master. That's
thank
amazing. That's
you.
another one of my to-do list check off items that I want to do is to take a
Yeah.
class. Um, because I really believe that, because we are energy, we are made of energy and we can move the energy within our body and our space and that's one part of self-care I think a lot of people are missing is the energy work and how that can really shift and change how they're feeling, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. So, can you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. I actually talk a little bit about it in my song Explode,
Mm-hmm.
which I wrote because I was really overstimulated,
Okay.
if you will, by my family and just
Mm,
things going on around me. And I wrote that song. And it talks about that, just, your energy, just my energy being so infectious. And with that comes great power. Um,
mm-hmm.
I have the energy to light up a room, and this is
Mm-hmm.
something I'm learning as I get older.
Yeah.
But I also, if I'm not in the mood, I have the energy to, affect everyone's mood in that room. So, and not also that, but just how your energy affects your health.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize how much your energy affects your health. You can die from a stroke just being too upset or having your blood pressure high.
Mm-hmm.
Just things they call, the blood pressure, the silent killer,
Yes.
for a reason, because it's not just with food and eating and diet, it's also with your moods, your energy
Mm-hmm.
levels. that you're sending through your body. So you really want to be careful with not only how you reflect it on those around you, but also how it affects your health for your body as well.
Absolutely. I totally understand that because recently my mom, she had a health scare, and it was because her blood pressure was sky high. And then, of course, not drinking enough water. So I have some kidney
Mhm.
issues. And sorry, mama, put all your stuff out there. But
I
just
got a gift for mama, so don't worry. I have no pressure and kidney tonic for her.
got it. Okay, okay, awesome. So just but then I think that one of the key factors is stress. You
Yes.
know, living with, dealing with, suppressing stress for so long that the body is just like, you know what, ma'am, I can't take it anymore. You know, I'm giving you warnings. Your blood pressure is high. You need to pay attention.
Yes.
Um, and how so many, especially those in older generations, they have not really learned coping skills for stress, or they've been taught that you have to be good, you have to be non-reactive, you must never make waves, you must always be nice, and how that is just really shooting our blood pressure through the roof.
Mhm.
So talk a little bit more about that just how stress impacts your blood pressure and other health factors.
Absolutely. That's a great point as well, because it absolutely does. And one of the most important things that I'm learning also while I'm getting my license as a counselor is anger is healthy.
Mhm.
It is okay. Sadness is healthy. Your emotions, every emotion is healthy to feel. So
Mhm.
it's all about how you express it,
Yes.
and not being able to express it at all can lead to even more stress and issues down the line, because it doesn't go away, as you
Mhm.
said. It always comes back up in the most inconvenient ways and times, and usually when it's a buildup,
Mhm.
and you don't want that to happen as well. And I one of my lives that I lived when I was in Dallas for 5 years, I well, about 4 or 5 years, I worked for part-time for Meta,
Mhm.
which we know it as Facebook and
Mhm.
Instagram, reviewing things as far as all the policies from hate speech to bullying to gore,
Mm.
which is
Mhm.
everything you can think of as a violation on social media. Doing that for at least 4 years. And after coming from that, we had mandatory wellness, 45 minutes a week because of
Mhm.
the content we were viewing.
Mhm.
And I just thought, being a criminal justice major, this inspired me to create a petition that I'm trying to reach enough signatures to get signed to pass as a bill, stress management, to make it mandatory for law enforcement and military officials, because I was just thinking this is content that we have to deal with on a
Mhm.
computer base, and then we get to go with our 45 minutes once per week. But this is something that in situations that military and veterans and law enforcement officials are dealing with on a firsthand in-person basis, and you have to place that on top of them being humans, them already
Mhm.
going through whatever wife issues, family issues, whatever they may not be dealing with very well, and
Right.
then they're forced to come and be direct with a hostile environment automatically.
Mhm.
No human being can handle those situations in the most tact every time. So I created a petition to get it, make it mandatory for stress management programs to
Wow.
be for law enforcement, military, and veterans, just to take care of their health more, because that can
Mhm.
only help. And a lot of times when they're given a choice, we all know that they self-medicate,
Yeah.
which we should all know by now that it's not really getting down to the root of the problem or
Mhm.
healthy coping mechanisms moving
Right,
forward.
right.
So, yeah, that is definitely something that I'm working on, trying to stress and teach and trying to implement in our and make mandatory in especially our places of service,
Mhm.
schools, law enforcement, for teachers, any health provider, things of that sort, to make sure that's mandatory, because the people that are taking care of us and protecting us and teaching us, we have to make sure they're taken care of.
Absolutely. I would love to have a link to your petition where the public can sign because I think that's a really important because one of the things I really am an advocate for is stress management, stress relief, of course, self care, and
Yes.
this is a huge issue for not just women but for everyone. But
Everyone.
of
Yes,
course,
ma'am.
I do focus in on women. But yes, I definitely want to have that link. So we'll
Yes,
have that in
absolutely.
the description below, so that you can also sign this into law or help get this signed into law. Um,
Absolutely.
so tell me more about just, I know you mentioned, having a situation with your family, uh,
Hmm.
which of course was the inspiration for your song. So tell me a little bit more about that, not necessarily all the personal details, but just why even families can be sources of stress and how you managed and coped with that.
Wow. Well, just for me, in its different situations, but mainly for me, I was the only child for 19 years.
Mm,
Um, and I don't have children
mhm,
right now. So just always been a constant struggle of always being responsible since I was 12. I've had my own babysitting service
mm,
just to make sure I didn't have to ask for money. And I had money every weekend to go to the movie in the mall.
mhm,
Um, just being like that and not really, and we don't have to let loose like that, but I really have never let loose
mm,
like that.
mhm,
So I have my moments where I'm boggled up with too much responsibility, I feel,
mhm.
especially when I feel like the responsibility is not my own.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is something I have been working on definitely, well, recently, the past year for sure, to
Mhm,
make sure that I am managing that better. I'm not agreeing to anything that I don't want to do, so I don't have a bad attitude with doing so. I'm mindful about my energy, just
mhm.
things of that sort, and mindful about walking in gratefulness as well.
Yeah.
Because if I walk in gratefulness and I know and understand that this is something that I really don't have a problem with doing, I
Mhm,
just
mhm,
or it may be the timing or the way it was asked or things of that sort, just really evaluating before I accept something and get involved with something. So yeah.
awesome, and that's so crucial. I That is one of the things that I really want people, especially women, to really think about, being mindful of your energy. So tell me how you have over the years learned to be more mindful of your energy. I know you've done Reiki and everything, but just how you became more mindful and what you recommend and suggest for other people to become more mindful about their energy.
Wow. Definitely throughout my interactions with people, and mainly my family.
Mhm, mhm,
Because the people that you interact mostly, will tell you about yourself, get more of an honest opinion from them, even when you're not able to evaluate yourself in a timely fashion. So I would definitely say family helped a lot. And also with me just because then I realized I'm like, yeah, my energy is powerful. I walk into the room, I make light up the room. My nickname is Sunshine most of the time.
mhm,
But I had a friend that told me, he was like, just with that, it comes with power. And just as if you would light up a room, you can take all the energy away from a room
mhm,
if you're not in the mood as well. And I never thought about it that way. So it just really had me thinking about my energy overall and not
mhm.
just in one aspect of it.
Got it, got it. And yeah, that's really important to consider as well, because I feel like we give a lot of our energy away,
Mhm.
maybe unconsciously,
Yeah.
and which is why mindful energy management is so important. And if when we find ourselves giving so much of our energy away, we don't have enough for ourselves. We don't have enough to make ourselves feel happy, feel good, to put it into the projects that we want to put them in. But we've just I don't not even delegated it. We've just let it seep out and
Yes,
allowed energy vampires to suck it from us, and
that's
people
real.
who really don't need to even be near us, close to us, they have found ways to, take the energy from us that we need in order to sustain ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, and I see it all the time.
Absolutely, I agree.
So, one thing I've done is learn how to call back my energy. Um,
love that. Okay.
Yes, yes, and it's such an important practice to do daily because we don't you don't realize when you're around certain a lot of different people every day,
Mhm.
they are absorbing our energy and we're absorbing
Yes,
their energy, and so we have to,
absolutely.
you know, send it on back, send back what we don't want, what we don't need, and call back our energy that we need for ourselves.
Love
But I
that.
would love to hear how you use your energy to create music, because I know that's one of the biggest things that we wanna talk about in this episode is the beautiful
Yes.
key music and how, you've used that as a
Mhm.
catalyst for your wellness and your self-care.
Oh, wow. Um, I'm into astrology too.
Mhm,
So in case
mhm.
you are, I have a Leo moon in
Okay.
a fifth house.
Mhm,
And basically I am emotionally attached to anything I'm involved in creatively. My music being one of them, very attached to my words.
mhm,
Um, I have a talent to simplify my words, which a lot of people don't realize that's a talent. But I
mm.
have a story behind every song, which I'll be releasing my album next spring.
Okay.
Uh, it'll be a video behind every song and the story behind it, because I truly just use whatever I'm going through to write. I've been through my first relationship as an adult that lasted maybe 2 or 3 months when I was 21.
Mhm.
um, and it resulted and ended in me having a restraining order. That
Mm,
inspired my soccer vision song, and that keeps me expressing it through my music and not taking action elsewhere where it can be negative. And so it's really been a strength to be able to channel that and to utilize that in my music,
mhm,
and to be able to connect with so many people, which I look forward to doing more with now, with them knowing the story behind each song. Because you
mhm.
can listen to it, vibe to it, but knowing the story behind it and how it relates to you, that's really important to me. So
Okay. So would you say that your music has been a form of therapy for you?
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I've been writing since I was 12. The very first song I wrote, I remember I was in my English classroom, and the classroom doors used to have those rectangular windows
Mhm, mhm.
in front of them, so you just see a little bit out. And our classroom was in front of the bathroom, and I had this crush. I'm not gonna say his name. I had this crush. It was my very first crush. I liked that boy from like the fifth grade to the seventh grade. I liked that boy so long.
Mhm,
But my first song was called Boy Crazy. I
mhm.
wrote that looking at him, staring at his head outside the window of the classroom. So I've always used my writing to express something I feel like I couldn't say, or that I'm feeling. So
Mhm.
absolutely.
Okay, awesome. And you said your album's coming out next spring. Um,
Yes, March 29th.
okay, okay. Is it your first album or is it a subsequent one?
Yes, it'll be my first album. I've
Okay.
been releasing EPs,
Mhm.
so just a little piece of it over the years, and this time it'll be the full album, and it'll have at least 3 to 5 new songs on there as well. So yeah, it'll be my
Nice.
first album. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. So tell me about your self-care practices. Like, what do you do to take care of yourself?
Good question. Um, I love meditation, like just sitting there in silence sometimes.
Mhm.
Sometimes I have days where I talk more than I would like to. And that runs my social battery
Right.
down, if you will. So just being able to recharge, just sit in silence has been a great help. My sound bowls. I love, love, love,
Mm.
love, love my sound bowls.
Mhm.
Just using frequency and vibrations have been one of my most favorite self-cares, besides pedicure, like
Mhm.
going to the I love getting my feet done. Pedicure is very healing to me.
Yeah.
And getting a massage when I can.
Mhm.
uh, that those are definitely my self-cares. Reading on things that I'm interested in. I love updating myself something new about astrology and
Mhm.
how the next transits are going to align, or whatever it is I'm trying to do. I love doing that. I love cooking. I'm a
Mhm.
great natural cook. Like, I don't taste my food when I cook, and it comes out good. Yes,
Oh,
yes, I stand by
nice.
that.
Okay.
Yes, those are my self-cares for sure.
I love that. I love that. I don't think I've ever done that. Have I, like,
I
Cook and
never
not
taste my
taste?
food. And
Really?
and I didn't notice it until someone brought it to my attention. It was like, I already know. I was like, and I asked him to taste it. And I was like, well, I didn't taste it. I want you to.
Mhm.
It was like, I already know how you get down. I ain't
Yeah.
never seen you taste your food while you cook. I'm like, oh, you got a point. I don't think I ever taste my food when I cook. I have passion for it and I'm in the mood and it just
Mhm.
ends up coming out good because of the passion I have for it. So
Yes, yes, and that's one of the things I really believe in is when you are doing anything, but especially cooking, the mood makes the food.
yes. Never cook mad. Never
Never,
cook
never
mad.
cook mad.
Never. I agree 100%.
Absolutely. When I was teaching my kids how to cook and,
Mhm.
they had their days or whatever to cook, and my one of them were upset or mad, I was like, "Mm-mm, nope, I don't no,
It's okay.
don't even worry about it because it's the food is not gonna taste good,
Not
and we
gonna
do
taste
not need
good.
that."
That is so true.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So, but, like, what was I gonna
Mhm.
ask you? What is your I know you mentioned the song "Explode" on
Mhm.
your, one of your songs. So what's, like, the favorite song that you have written so far?
Oh my goodness. That's really hard for me because I
Mhm.
have a story behind everyone.
Okay.
But that's a different question. Favorite song I have written. I'm gonna say the favorite song would be, I'll say Stalker Visions, but Stalker Visions was a freestyle, and I had to write that after I recorded it. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna say BDC.
Okay.
It's about that cash. I was going through where I was feeling insecure about myself gaining weight.
Mhm.
'Cause I was a stick figure for many, many years, from
Mhm.
about 15 up to 25.
Mhm. Mhm.
So after that, every year I gained like 5, 10 pounds. At first I'm like, oh, I'm feeling in, I'm getting
Mhm.
fine, finally. And then I discovered, that I was diagnosed with PCOS.
Okay. Mhm.
And with PCOS is I didn't really understand the magnitude and what all came with it besides hair growth in
Mhm.
places that I didn't want. And then as the years continued, more weight gain every
Mm.
year,
Mhm.
even with me doing certain things and me going from me having to change my diet and me having to work out when I never had to before, and just, really trying to be positive about myself because I was not feeling good about myself when,
Mhm.
it was too much weight packing on in certain areas. And this
Yeah.
guy that I was talking to he was very critical.
Mm.
He wasn't very warm.
Mhm. Mhm.
And he knew me since I was 21, since I was a stick. So he didn't express in a very loving manner of the new changes as well. And that song I just wrote, my opening line is, I'm a thick fine caramel, you can call me Foxy. My
Mhm.
aunt Sharon has always called me Foxy Brown since I was younger. The Pam Greer, Foxy
Mhm.
Brown.
Mhm.
um so I just wrote that. I'm like, what am I, like, ain't nobody, and I gotta talk to myself better too, like I'm fine.
Yes.
And I actually have my mom, my little brother, and my grandmother on the hook of that song. My
Mhm.
grandmother came up with most of the hook of that song. So
Okay.
it was awesome to have my family. That's the only song that I have my core family on there as
Mhm.
well. So it's just the story behind it, the energy, the movement behind that. It's probably one of my favorites to write and create.
Okay. So, yeah, that was definitely therapy for you and positive self-talk, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Absolutely, 100%.
Yes, I love it, I love it. So, I am curious about the program that you have because I know we mentioned before we started recording that you do have,
Mhm.
like, a program you wanna share, but even before we get to that, you mentioned that you're into astrology. So, tell me a little bit. So, my daughter's
Uh-huh.
also into it as well, and she tells me so many things. I'm like, "Ma'am,
Ooh,
I don't
you can't keep
I
up.
just I can't keep up, I'm
It's a lot.
confused."
A
So
lot.
so and I noticed that on your website, you do, readings, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
So, what made you
Yeah.
get into astrology, and how has that been, a change, a catalyst for you?
Wow. Wow. I'm not exact. I think I got into astrology. Oh my goodness, so many years ago. I'm
Mm,
not exactly sure. I think because how I was able to relate it to certain things to myself and what I was going through. And then I start learning more about it in different aspects because a lot of people just think it's your sun sign. And
mhm,
it's like, no, you have your moon, you have all the other planets, and just learning more about what those mean. And I
mhm,
actually utilize those when it comes to my readings and when it comes to my interactions with people, just for my flame
mhm,
business as well, teaching people like your love compatibility signs as far as your Venus, your moon being based on your emotional compatibility, just different things of that sort. And recently, the last couple of years, I've been learning more about asteroids. A lot of
mm.
people don't know about the asteroids, and that has
Okay.
been my favorite thing to learn about. I've been learning about everything from, they have a singer asteroid, they have fame asteroid, a fan asteroid to tell you how you'll be famous, your type of fans you'll have, your talent asteroid.
Mm.
it, it's
Wow.
so many, like it's,
Okay.
I have been having so much fun learning about that and being able to utilize it for myself, different transits, because it's a saying that millionaires don't have astrologers, billionaires do.
Right.
So becoming one myself and becoming more
Mhm,
educated through in that aspect, I can apply it how I need to be the most successful as I can. So yeah,
mhm.
it's been really fun.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm learning little by little. I
It's so
do.
much.
Yes, yes. I like human design. I've
Ooh.
learned about human design. I took a class and everything. So I'm like, and it does touch on a little bit of astrology, but I'm
Yeah.
like, just the whole, to me, it's all a part of the self-development,
Mhm,
self-discovery process.
mhm.
Because somebody said that your astrology is like your blueprint for your life. And I'm like, that's very intriguing. And so many people are afraid of it on the
Mhm,
one hand, and then some
mhm,
people are obsessed with it on the other
mhm,
hand
mhm.
and run their entire lives around it. But I'm just like trying to find a happy balance there. And I think human design does that for me.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned that. I actually got a chance to go to Paris for the first time last year, and I got to go to the Louvre.
Okay.
It was so funny because I ended up going to Paris to go with my friend. He's a photographer, and we were going to have a shoot out there and hang out. And I
Mhm.
ended up purchasing Chris Brown tickets. And I'm like, I might as well see Chris
Right.
Brown out there. My goodness. I got there. My friend never made it because he was stuck in New York for a delay for like 3 days.
Oh, no.
So I ended up staying out there by myself. And then once I finally, so I had to make up the itinerary, since I was out there by myself, and the Louvre was one of them. And I just learned a lot about astrology there. When you go there, they
Mm,
have all the signs on the walls because they use
really?
astrology to, when it was created back in those times, to tell when you were going to die and to basically use it as a life path for you.
Wow.
So astrology has been around since Greek time, and that
Right.
truly amazed me to see all the signs on the ceiling. It's so beautiful,
Oh my
and it's
goodness.
just so much history, behind it. So I love astrology. It's a funny story about my Paris trip too, because I ended up finally getting to the gate with my Chris Brown to see it, and I found out that I had fake tickets.
Oh, no.
Yes. Luckily, I end up getting a refund eventually, but yeah, the Paris trip just
Oh, goodness.
it was
It had
it
its
was, you
highs
wouldn't
and its
believe it.
lows. Oh my
You
goodness.
just wouldn't believe
What?
it. Yes, yes, it was so fun. I'm like, you can't make this up. But I had a
Right.
great time with the itinerary that I made. I
Mhm.
got to go to the Louvre. I got to go on a cruise and see the Eiffel Tower that they have out there as well.
Uh-huh.
It was super cool. So yeah.
Wow. Wow, this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so
Thank
much for sharing
you.
your experiences, the highs
Thank
and
you
the
for
lows.
having me.
But I do wanna hear about your program. I wanna hear about your program, what you have to offer, and we're gonna have
Mhm.
all the links and everything in the description below. So just share, tell us all about it.
Yes. Of course. So my program is Flame Marriage Services, finding love around me everywhere. And I offer a wedding officiant services. It's perfect for those that are involved in elopement because elopement is on the rise lately, as well as small ceremonies. And I can present virtual weddings or in person
Mhm.
as well. It comes with wedding planners for the bride, as well as wellness planners, as well as a love frequency treatment to
Mm.
enhance the bond between the couple
Mhm.
using love frequency instruments. Similar to sound bowls,
Right.
as they have different frequencies that also increase the love in your body and the
Mm.
brain. So yes, just doing research on that and being able to provide many clients and marry many people, and to be able to offer soon marriage counseling
Mhm.
once I am licensed in 2027 officially in
Okay.
January. So yes, I will be offering that. So I want everyone to follow flamemarriageservices.com, or you can contact us at flamemarriageservices@gmail.com.
Mhm.
And it's great. You get a wedding gift. You get everything. You get the virtual assistants. You also get an astrology reading if you'd like to, with the compatibility of you and your partner. So it's really awesome. Just combining wellness and creativity with every aspect.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. So yes, again, we will have the links in the description below. And my last question for you is, with all of your businesses,
Mhm.
how do you keep your balance? How do you take She's like, I don't. But how
You
do
know,
yeah.
that's a great question. I make sure I prioritize. I just try to prioritize and balance out self care as much as possible.
Mhm.
And as being a future counselor, that is something that they actually make mandatory for us to learn.
Mhm.
Because once we are licensed and getting on with dealing with people on a consistent basis, we have to be able to shut off
Right.
from indulging so much. So I've actually been making sure I end or begin my day with self care. And
Wonderful.
I think that helps me keep a balance.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much again for sharing. Thank you because a lot of people are doing a lot of things. We have different side businesses, main
Yes.
businesses, jobs, family, all the different things. And so it's so important to find that balance. And by you being on our show today, you have definitely given us a glimpse into your life and how you are maintaining that balance, as well as sharing your wonderful music. Tell us where we can find your music. Um,
Yes, of course. You can find all of my music and information on my other businesses on thebeautifulkey.com. That's DA beautiful KEY.com.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you, Key, aka the beautiful Key, for being
Thank
on our show, The
you.
Blissful Life today. And thank you all for listening to our show and listening to Key's story and how she is navigating life and managing it with wonderful self-care because we all want to do that for ourselves. She's a wonderful example of that. So again, all of her information is going to be in the description below. Please be sure to like this episode, leave a review, and of course, be sure to subscribe. My name is Samantha Gregory, the Self Care Alchemist, and I love that you have been with us today. And I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Take care, and we'll talk to you again soon. Awesome. Let's see.